Welcome to the all-new 2026 Jeep Recon, and I don't think that this is just a all-electric Jeep. I personally think this is the all-electric Jeep because, I mean, look at it. It's like a Jeep Grand Cherokee and a Wrangler and a little bit of Defender all smashed into one all-electric off-road adventure mobile. I mean, you've got a lot of questions. I've got a lot of answers. Let's get into it. All right, so the biggest stuff first. This rides on Stellantis' STLA large platform shared with the Wagoneer S, which means that, yes, it's unibody, and that might have some Wrangler-loving folks running for cover, but Jeep has made sure that the Recon, at least in the Moab trim, is both quite capable and meets all internal trail-rated specifications. So, all-wheel drive via dual electric motors is standard, at least on the off-road focused Moab, which is mostly what I'm discussing here, since we really don't have an official launch date for the other Recon configuration you see in this video, which is more of the daily and luxury-oriented Overland trim. So, back to the Moab trim, a fantastic 650 horsepower and 620 pounds-feet of torque is also standard, which cuts a 0 to 60 mile-per-hour sprint in just 3.6 seconds. And since the Moab rolls around on 33-inch Nexen Roadian all-terrains, I bet it feels quicker than that. 230 miles of range is backed by a 400-volt, 100-kilowatt battery pack that gains 100 miles in 10 minutes when hooked up to a juicy DC fast charger. Now, there is far too much techie stuff to get into in this short preview, but the highlights of the Moab's offered capabilities include 9.1 inches of ground clearance, 33.8 degrees of approach, 33.1 degrees of departure, and 23.3 degrees of breakover angle. There's also an electronic locking differential and 5 distinct drive modes, including snow, sand, and the Moab exclusive rock terrain profiles. I've definitely saved the best for last because the doors come off. And not only that, but the rear quarter windows and the swing gate glass is also removable, all without tools. And that means that at launch, the Recon is the only electric vehicle with that very Jeepish feature. Now, one of the things Jeep is very clearly most proud about is that while you can get 30.3 cubic feet of storage behind the second row, with the second row folded, you got 65.9 cubic feet of storage. Throw all your camping gear, all your adventure, all your recovery gear back there. You can go for it. Tons of room. And do not worry, there's going to be tons of Mopar accessories, both functional and non-functional. Right here, showcased is this little kind of shelf thing that I asked Jeep. They said it's kind of best for tailgating and whatnot, so that's kind of fun. You got holes like for cups and whatever, you know, stand up out here and have a good time. As you'll see around some of the Recons on display, there's some lights all over these things. There's optional wheels. There's all sorts of stuff. You're going to be able to kit it out, matching your personality. Now, as far as EVs go, I would consider the Recon fairly analog, and at least it's in its approach, but not so much in the interior. We've got all the kind of terrain selections here and the E-diff locker there in the center. Well, it's screen central, which some of you might like or not like. 12.3-inch digital driver display is optional, and at least on this so-equipped Moab, we've got a massive 14.5-inch infotainment screen here in the center that, in addition to infotainment stuff, we've got all the climate control functions here and some of the vehicle functions. So a lot of screens, but also a lot of digital toys. Check this out. We've got, as you'd imagine, off-road pages buried deep within the infotainment. So we've got, you know, gauges, pitch and roll. We can do some terrain selection here. We've got a whole front camera system for when you're out on the trails. Pretty cool. And because the doors come off, they have added all sorts of requisite rugged Jeep stuff in here that you're used to seeing on the Wrangler. We've got a lockable center console here. Everything is chunky and meaty, and you got grab handles here with exposed screws and huge panoramic roof. It's all very much Wrangler-y, for lack of a better term. This might be one of the more family-friendly electric adventure vehicles, because check out the amount of headroom I have in here. This is pretty incredible. I'm a solid 5'11". I'm sitting kind of behind myself here. I've got tons of leg room, and there's all sorts of stuff that is fun to play with back here. Of course, you got the panoramic sunroof. We have an actual full 3-prong AC plug down here, double USB-C ports, armrest, decent, you know, nice kind of adventure upholstery. Nice. Pricing, well, expect the Moab to start right at $67,000, including destination. So it's not cheap, but it's not too far off a Wagoneer S, and it's certainly less than some top trims of the Wrangler. This thing is super cool. I think Jeep has done an amazing job at balancing outright off-road capability and all that good hardware with plenty of Jeep character and just a little bit of the crossover practicality, while still keeping it very much the real deal. Folks, the doors come off. I rest my case here. Now, I have a lot more to say about the 2026 Jeep Recon, but for my full thoughts and up close, you gotta go to Cars.com/news.